if I get the intent that Lori wanted me to talk about, is I'd like to talk a little bit about the vision, but not so much Gary Lang's vision as a coach or an educator, but your vision sitting right there in that chair for the students that I have, for the students that I'm going to have. What are we going to look like riding this wonderful walking horse 3 years from now? What is that horse going to look like? Where are we going to be as an industry? What do we want from that horse? So as I put my vision statements up there, just kind of change it around, and Dr. Lawler, put your vision statement there, because we all are teachers. We have come to a point, listen, Bobby, that we are NCAA Division I horse in the world. I know Tennessee got a bad call. I know it, Mr. Beach. But I was laying in the bed with the cover over my, trying to watch it. But we have come to that point. We are NCAA Division I. We are the best of the best. We no longer have to go outside the industry to find it. We are the best of the best. He's proven that. As I look across America, and I do clinics from the East Coast to the West Coast, people are riding great horses. People are riding the kind of horses that I envision. The problem of it is some of you gals, like Jan and Nia, you got to get back into the show ring with some of them, because you're riding some good horses. When Miss Sosa tells you that she's riding a head-shaking horse, she is not fibbing to you, because I do clinics out there. And it's amazing to watch what the animals do. But getting back on topic, and I'm not going to talk because Lori told me not to talk too much. Bill, you've lucky to survive as long as you have. The vision for Windswept Stables to be the world's best gaited trail and show horse training experience. Being the best means providing outstanding teacher, quality trail riding horses, and the value. That can be yours. When you go down to Walmart tomorrow and you talk about this animal, that's not only that's your vision. That's where we got to come to, because we got to get it out there. And there's not enough of us to get it out there where it needs to be. The show world is kind of crumbling down around us a little bit. We need to have 1,000 people in the stand instead of 3. Am I doing this right, Mr. Rick? The clinician versus the trainer. There is a difference between a trainer and a clinicianer. A trainer is, if you look around, you're not going to see a lot of professional trainers here, because most of them are at a horse show. They like to win. So they're looking for a horse that's going to walk, shake his head, even in gait, in time, and you're going to hear this tomorrow so much you're going to be sick of hearing it. And they're looking for a horse that can win. They're looking for a really quality horse. The clinicianer is general horsemanship. And he gets to work more general around and bringing the horse into a proper posture. My definition is, I like more or less to be a coach. If you watched the great coach last night at the University of Kentucky talk about his team and what they accomplished, hey guys, that's no different than what you're doing sitting on that 1,000-pound animal. No difference whatsoever. You're a team. Sometimes you win, and sometimes he wins. But you're a team, and you got to work it through together. I wanted to come up with a mission statement. And put your own mission statement here, because you are the teachers now. We've got to promote this horse to the highest levels. Windswept Stables shall provide the highest quality equine service. We strive to answer all questions and concerns with conviction and principles to help the student solve problems. You're not an interruption of my day. You're the purpose. You are important. You riding that head-shaking, flat-foot walking horse. That's what's important to me. I'm a little different than the other clinicians. I want you to be head-shaking, overstriding, and having fun on that horse. That's what makes a gaited horse fun, is because he's a gaited horse. What's the number one reason people come to clinics? what is the number one question I get from the East Coast, from New Hampshire, all the way over to Southern California last year? Here it is. My horse won't gait. And I believe that if we can get our horse in the proper frame, in the proper position, with loving hands, a wonderful seat, that this animal will sell himself. Uh-oh, excuse me. Somebody's wanting to know how to put on a bridle, I think. That's kind of nice, because that was on because one of the best breeding stallions west of the Mississippi is Miss Sosa. And she's got some great animals out there, and he's a little Mary-Go-Boy horse. The other horse that you got right here in Middle Tennessee, if you ever get the time to spend with Jana Anderson, she's great. She's got some really nice breeding horses. So we've got the genetics. One of the wonderful things about going out there, and I did a clinic out there with the Sosa farm last year. We're going to do another, and we got 20 people scheduled. I don't know how we're going to do this. Yeah, we'll work that out, Jan. But one of the nice things about their horses is you go out there, you walk out in the pasture field, you throw a rope halter on a 3-year-old, you don't put a saddle on the animal, you try to swing up on her the best you can, and you go and you are flat foot walking. No training. And all you got to do to understand that is don't take it away from them. Let them do their job, gang. They will do it if you let them do it. Now, this is a controversial subject. My background is in classical dressage. I think the only good thing about a 3-year-old is he becomes 4. I think the only good thing about a 2-year-old is nothing. But now that's debatable, and if you have to ride your 2-year-old, that's fine. As long as, see, now, she can get away with it. She weighs 90 pounds soaking wet. I weigh 115. Once the horse learns to drop from the seat bones, it really takes a professional rider to bring the seat up and bring the body round. Lori, keep me on time. Purity of gait. That's what it's about, gentlemen, ladies. Purity of gait is what the horse does by the first hour of his life. When he hits that circle around his mother, it's going to be to the right 90% of the time. Not always, but 90% of the time, he's going to be gaiting. We have to stay focused on finding that gait. Now, I do agree with Kat that all horses are not going to come out and be a head-shaking, walking, flat-foot walking horse, and we shouldn't discount that. But we must teach our horse how to gait. You know, what keeps your horse imperative, what keeps your horse sound, is his gait. Hey, gang, look, we don't have a moment of suspension in the flat-foot walk. Never have, never will. We don't have a moment of suspension in the pace like they do, all 4 feet off the ground. It's that hump that gives you. You know what makes your Tennessee walking horse fabulous? And by the way, I love gaited mules. They're great. Missouri Foxtrotters, Rocky Mountain horses, Icelandics. Matter of fact, I've never met one that I didn't like. I've met a lot of horses I didn't like their ways, but I never met a horse I didn't like. Now, what keeps this horse, keeping this horse into that gait and getting back to that, what makes him great? The head shake. That's how they founded it in 1939, was on the head shake. The head shake is our moment of suspension. That's why you can add speed to the walk. It's because of the head shake and the drive of the hindquarters. It gives you that ump. It gives you the ability to go out and ride your animal for 8 to 15 hours, or 8 to 15 miles, excuse me, and go dancing at night. That's what it gives you. And if you, I have a lot of friends trained in the Western pleasure world, and they're good. They'll post that horse for 3 miles, then on the right lead, they'll post on the left lead for 3 miles, constantly taking care of that back. You don't have that problem. Just get that horse's head down below his withers and let him do his God-given talent job. And I don't have no problem you bring the head up later on. You can bring the head up when you want to. But when you bring the head up, you must bring the withers with it. Because if not, we get into that ugly stuff. The role of the educator. As you look at this and develop your own mission statement and thinking about your own style of doing things, I teach the flat foot walk first. I don't worry about the running walk. I don't worry about the rack. I don't worry about the foxtrot. I teach the flat foot walk. The flat foot walk is the mother of all gaits in this world. That's the God-given gift that he's given us, is the flat foot walk. Each student has different learning styles. Recognizing what works, and I got to go over and work with a few horses yesterday, and we're going to see these horses tomorrow, and each one of the students has a different learning style. Some people learn by visual, some people learn by reading, some people learn by books. Here it is, gang. Some people learn by talking to each other, just like you are in this room. Everyone's a teacher. Keep this in the mind. I don't believe it's all gloom and doom for the Tennessee walking horse industry. My gosh, we're just now getting to where we're going to explode in the next 5 to 10 years. I mean explode. Hang on to your brood mares, folks, because we're going to need them. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to develop some stuff that I could use at my clinics and develop some products that I wanted to do. So I wrote a book. Now here's an old senior state police detective in Kentucky. I decided I'm going to write a book. So I whipped that out in about 30 days. Lo and behold, I would never have dreamed, and thanks to you, and all credit goes to you, that it would become the best gaited horse book in the world. The Barnes & Noble sales are off the charts. The best-selling country, I always thought, was Canada. Israel has overtaken them. Then Canada, then some of the Netherlands countries. Germany's about fourth on the list. So what does that tell you about this market base that you're marketing, your horse that you're sitting talking with? I needed some, the book wasn't simple enough. So I thought, well, I got to do something because I'm not getting the message and the dots are not getting connected to people. You know, everybody's wanting to put the horse on welfare and pull on his mouth. So I got to get him off of welfare. I got to get the horse off of welfare, quit trying to hold him up. So I made the DVD, so I called Dr. Bob Womack before he passed away, great gentleman. And I said, Dr. Womack, I need to use some of your old film. Would you let me do it? He fumbled around there a few minutes, and he said, did you write the little green book? And I said, yes, sir. He said, okay, I'll put my secretary on. Gary, you get everything you want. And with 3 days, everything was mailed to me on his library. Fascinating gentleman, a very fascinating man, very, very smart man. So I was able to take the 1940 horses and compare them to modern day horses. And when I got to looking at them horses side by side, I thought, man, this is some good stuff. I do believe that the gait structure hasn't changed. If you would say, Gary, what makes the horse greater today than he was in 1940? And I make no bones about it. I love the horse that's buried over here about 18 miles from here, Mary Go Boy. I think what the thing we have today is the ability of the horse's neck. We got a better neck on walking horses in 2014 than probably what they had in 1940. That's why it's so difficult. It's so easy to have problems with their horses because of the neck structure. But anyway, we marketed this. I needed something for the trail horse people. So we came up with the Understanding the Gaited Trail Horse. And now the introduction to the gaited horse dressage is really taking off. It's really exploding. Dr. Marty Langhofer's, he's on there talking about the mouth, how the preconception of motion, everything in the mouth, how it relates to the horse. This is really taking off. Education is the key for our future. Marketing your horse. Word of mouth. That's it. I'm telling you, you can spend a fortune. You can spend a fortune with marketing firms. And you can spend a fortune in writing advertisement firms. But let me tell you something, folks. You ride a nice, flat-foot, head-shaking, walking horse, he will market himself for you. He will do that for you. All you got to do is ride him. When everybody's watching Tennessee play basketball, you need to be out there riding your horse, getting him in gear, teaching him how to use his top line, teaching him how to use his mouth, teaching him how to round out, teaching him how to connect the dots with your body. Websites, developing your website. We use Windswept Stables, National Bridle. Mr. Thomas, please forgive me. I should have had Winter Circle up there. We're trying to be an education leader in the world. And we want to be, our vision is to be able to help and to teach. The FOSS program is absolutely a fabulous program with the Journey program. I just love this program. They've got it right, and it's going to explode. Goodwill, taking phone calls. Hey, look, I challenge each and every one of you today, sometime next week, on somebody you don't know, to say, I love my walking horse. I challenge you to say that and strike that conversation up. You'll be amazed at how many people growed up watching Roy Rogers and Trigger that will come right to you and start talking to you. No gloom and doom here, folks. You're riding the best. You are the best. That's why you're in this room. Then we have the rest. So, taking phone calls. Now, one of the things I do at my clinic is I spend a lot of time evaluating that horse at the clinic. And last year, we had a few horses that we had to cull because of teeth problems, because of bad backs, stuff like that. I just don't charge them. I just give them their money back and tell them to go find a good veterinarian. Take care of these problems, take care of saddle fit problems, take care of the things that they need to take care of. They can always come back. We can always have them in the clinic some other time. But being good to the people. Being good to the people that ride horses. Now, I tell this to a lot of people in a lot of my clinics. Hey, look, if you don't want to be a teacher, and I want each and every one of you to be a clinician, I want each and every one of you to be a trainer, I want each and every one of you to be a coach. If you don't feel like that, you don't feel comfortable with that, go home and teach your grandchildren how to ride a walking horse. You can do that. That's easy. They'll love it. And the bonds that you build up for a lifetime is going to last forever. Ruth and I fight on who's going to get to be able to teach the kids. But they'll come to it. Continuing equine education. Diane Little put on one fabulous biomechanic. Stand up, Diane. Stand up here. Let people see who you are. She put on a great clinic last week. I was just amazed to see and hear some of the comments that came out of there. Continuing education. I do continuing education every year. I get to go up to these old crusty classical dressage trainers at the Lexington Horse Park, and I can't mention their names because you know some of them. And they're very astute. And they'll say, Gary, you come in here with a bad attitude in the seat today. Go home. I go home. But continuing education. This is continuing education right here for me. Because I'm going to get to hear, I'm hearing a lot of great stuff up here this morning. I'm going to hear a lot of great people talk about a great animal. And it's continuing education. Then I'm going to get them back alone and I'm going to ask them more questions. So it's just all good stuff. Continuing education is due to, I think, some of the problems we have. And I talked to Mr. Beach about this yesterday. And is we got lost on this USEF. Now, Inwall, you might talk to Dr. Lawler about this, Inwall's making some good roads there. And we're getting some good feedback there. But I think we need to get back with them. Because I think because we got isolated out, and I don't know how it happened. Bobby tried to explain it to me, but I couldn't have my trouble getting my head around it. But if we can get back to education, and we can stand up. And let me tell you something, folks. I'm going to get to stand up in front of 4,000 or 5,000 people per session here in a couple of weeks, and I'm proud to ride a walking horse. I'm going to pull my chest up and lift that horse's chest up and say, I'm proud to be here. This is what I'm about. I'm riding NCAA Division I, University of Kentucky. So, you know, getting back in the fold, and good horsemanship's good horsemanship. If you find a good Western pleasure trainer, and sometimes they don't understand gait and how to get into the horse's feet like maybe we would want them to, but it's good horsemanship no matter where you find it. Lori's got some good programs. Seek these people out. Aggravate them. I was having trouble with the saddles. Daggone it. Every time I got a hold of a gaited horse rider, bless their little hearts, they want to take their feet and stick as far out there on that dashboard as they can. So I called Mr. Bob Beach and I said, Bob, man, we got problems out here in the field. He said, tell me about it. So if the rider wanted to keep the feet out there all the time, they didn't want to bring the legs back. And so I said, Ruth's got an idea, Bob, we can solve that. So we came up with the Ladylike saddle. It's been phenomenal. Yeah, you can go around riding your legs stuck out there in front of that horse's shoulders, but it's going to bite you. And you're going to get them legs up underneath you where it needs to go to let that horse raise its back up under your crotch. That's what it's all about, getting that horse round. So it's been, so Bob and Ruth and Mr. Thomas, they all came up with the Ladylike saddle, and we're just very proud of it. I don't have one here, but you'll see it tomorrow when we do the clinics. All right, here it comes. This was the dear and dear one to me. I spent a lifetime training clinics since 1994. When I started up at the Lexington Horse Park, there wasn't a lot of people there except a crusty old bunch of gals that liked classical dressage. And I never could get the gaited horse people to turn the horse loose. They always wanted to hang on his face. And if you hang on your horse's face, you're just going to put him on the forehand, is all you're going to do to him. He's not going to do what I want him to do. He's not going to lift the base of his neck. All he's going to do is just kind of flop along on that forehand. So I tried putting them in rope halters. A good friend of mine said, well, Gary, just ride them in rope halters. This was a young man from, he's this older man from Oklahoma. Well, I put them in rope halters and they all ran away with them. So this ain't working. So I got to have something to put these horses in gear without hurting the horse's mind. So we came up and we developed, with the help of Mr. Beach and Mr. Thomas, we came up with the freedom bits. Well, working pretty good. Getting a lot of heads down, getting a lot of horses round, getting a lot of head shake in the horse, getting a lot of drive from the hindquarters, even in gait. All right, still had another problem. I called down to Mr. Beach, National Bridle, and I said, Bob, we can't get the curb strength change right on these horses. I said, I've just did 100-some horse clinics in the last 4 months, and I can't get the curb chains right. They're twisted. And I said, back when I was a boy growing up, we always used leather. He said, oh, yeah, I remember that. I said, can we make something to put on these freedom bits so Mama won't get too hateful with them? So what happens is, when a horse has to be corrected, you got a parasympathetic nervous system and a sympathetic nervous system. You overcorrect him, you put him in a defensive mode. His head comes up, the higher the horse's head, the less brains. His head comes up, he hollows out, he's in a I'm going to fight you posture. If we can put him in a situation where we don't hurt him, and we don't overcorrect him, then guess what? We're going to have a really good chance of calming him down, keeping him relaxed, and getting our gait. Relationship with National Bridle and Winter Circle. I couldn't have just great folks. I just love them to death. Now, don't hang around with them at the golf course, and don't hang around with them after hours. You might have to go over to the county jail and get you out or something, I don't know. So we came up with the Ladylike saddle, the freedom bit. Now, just a quick note, and we'll talk more on this in depth. I train in a snaffle bit. All my work is done in a snaffle bit till it comes time to the horse to release his tongue. Then when it comes time to release him, I go directly to the freedom bit, and it gives me the head shake. The freedom bit weighs a little bit more, and that's because when you're at a horse show, when you're at a parade, and you got a light snaffle bit in his mouth, you're going to have to kind of get a hold of him and things doesn't go well. Because the bit is so light, the horse's nervous system overrides the bit. Okay? So that's why it's just a tad heavier. This is my favorite slide. The future of the gaited horse. Folks, it cannot be more promising. We are just about to explode. The only thing that worries me is a lack of brood mares. Blessed are the brood mares. If we continue and we continue to grow, we're going to explode. We should have been there 25 years ago. But we're getting there. With great people coming on and great clinicians coming on and understanding how wonderful this horse is, we're going to make it. Get this naysayer crap out of your head. You ride the best, you are the best, and we are going to be the best, bar none. Second to none. And that's just the way life is. There's a lot of good clinicians out there, but there's a huge shortage of gaited clinicians, good ones, that teach gait, that understand what makes your horse great. Ride him today and you'll love him if you got him gaiting. And I'm not taking away from any of the other breeds, they're all wonderful too. But I just like the horse that does what he's supposed to do at 3 hours of age. He does what he's supposed to do when he's 14 years of age. And that's what makes it smooth. Because when you get my age, you might want to go dancing. There's a numerous gaited horses are looking for answers. Numerous gaited horse people. Now, I like the gaited mules. I love these, the Missouri Foxtrotters, the Icelandics, Morgans. Guys over here, the last clinic over here, am I getting short, Marty? Okay, I'll wind it down. Over here at the clinic last 2 weeks ago at all the police officers come in there and they was riding Percherons and Friesians. By the end of the second day, the Percherons and Friesians were all flat foot walking. Get it? Get it? See where I'm coming from? You want a smooth ride riding them big tanks, guys? Get them a flat foot walk. They'll do it. Marty's giving me. I want to really recognize these. What happened? Horse Haven is a wonderful, wonderful group. Naya, stand up back there at the back of the room. Steffi and Lisa, give them a great big hand. And I was watching TV last night, and I said, I know them people. So we had rescue horses that was coming in. The horses were doing really great, and they got a little bit of a bug over there, and we was afraid to remove the horses, but everything's over there great. I'm almost certain. I was told last night that Park City Police Department wants George. So we've actually, it wasn't for naught, so it looks like we adopted 2 of the horses. So that's good. Tomorrow we'll be at Rise and Glory Farm, and Chris has so graciously found us some students, and we'll take what we got. We'll have fun. I don't care if the horses pace, or I don't care if they trot a little bit. But we're going to stay focused, and we're going to work towards that magic moment, poetry in motion. It's called the flat foot walk. And that's what we'll do tomorrow. And I hope everyone can come over and spend some time with us. And if I don't get to talk to you anymore today or tomorrow, God bless you, and thank you for riding a gaited horse.